Good afternoon, everyone. So hopefully with any luck, if I've got the tech right, I will be live on LinkedIn and Facebook as well, which for those of you who know me, well, if I manage to do this, it will be like I have won an Olympic gold in something. I'll be very, very excited about it. Anyway, I'm Julia Rogers. I am an MCC accredited coach, and I am extraordinarily passionate about psychodynamics in coaching because it's something that we don't explore enough. And I think our clients and ourselves as coaches, we're missing out hugely. So it's my passion to bring this to you. It can be quite difficult to understand, and I'm on a mission to make sure that the world of coaching can understand those tricky psychodynamic concepts. Now, it's bonfire night this week in the UK, and so I thought I'd tie in a little topical theme. So we're going to talk about heat in coaching today. So you know those moments where things start to feel a little bit heated, maybe a client suddenly tears up or challenges you, or you can feel your own temperature rising a little bit. You know, that's what we're going to be exploring today. What happens when things get emotionally hot in the room, and how to work with that intensity safely and usefully. Now, it's going to happen. We're human beings working with other human beings. We aren't robots. So it's not like data entry or something where we can guarantee what's going to happen. We're human beings, and there's going to be moments almost like flashpoints here. So have a think about it yourselves. You know, have you ever had a session that felt emotionally charged? How did you handle it? So we're going to look first of all about why strong emotion signals depth. And what's going on is it's the psyche showing us that something important is happening. The heat isn't random. It's a clue that something old or significant is being replayed here. So when things get hot, it's rarely about the surface topic. It's often the unconscious saying, "You've been here before." We've got some key ideas here, such as transference, which is where we repeat previous relationships from our early years over and over again, or projection, where we split off the difficult bits of ourselves that we don't like very much and we locate them in somebody else. So it's our unconscious saying, you know, pay attention, there's something happening in this moment. So how can we think about almost like containment versus conflagration? How can we look at the difference between, you know, it being helpful and it really not helping us at all? So what we're thinking about is containment and creating a holding space for emotion without being overwhelmed by it. Now, the idea comes from Bion and Winnicott, and what they originally do is they describe a caregiver, or later a therapist, and how they receive a person's raw and unprocessed emotion. They hold it, they make sense of it, and then they give it back in a form that the person can bear. Now, in coaching, we're not therapizing, but we do act as a temporary container for emotional turbulence. What we're doing is we're helping clients think about what they feel rather than be flooded by it. One way to consider it is containment is what allows emotion to be thought about instead of acted on. So it's less about soothing and more about thinking under pressure. So we've got some examples here. When a client is angry and you don't flinch, defend or rush to fix, I think we can all, we can all feel the power with that one. We can absolutely identify, that was the word I was looking for. We can all identify with that one, this need to fix. But actually we don't do that. We stay present and curious. Maybe when tears come and we don't immediately rescue with reassurance, we give space for what's underneath. And it can be a very human response, you know, wanting to rush in and go, no, everything's fine, you'll be okay. But actually, if we give the space for what's happening, we're containing the emotions as opposed to almost smothering them. And when we notice our own discomfort rising and use it as information rather than as something to suppress. One way to think about it can be containment is emotional digestion. The client hands you something unprocessed and we hold it long enough to find meaning in it. Now, key points here to really think about are there's a difference between productive heat, so something that's actually really helpful, so energy, insight, movement that's happening within the sessions, and destructive heat, so reactivity, maybe overwhelm. There's some rupture that happens here. One question that we can ask ourselves in this moment is, am I holding the heat or am I in it? So when a client's anger stirs defensiveness in you, that's the moment to pause and wonder actually what's really in the fire. Now, what happens when the container cracks? So it cracks when the coach gets caught in the client's emotion instead of holding it. Some signs that this could be happening are maybe we're feeling overwhelmed, we're reactive, we want to hurry the conversation along, or we might give overly rational interpretations too quickly. A way to look at that might be we're kind of a psychological fire extinguisher there. Now, please always consider that you're human. This happens. What matters is the repair. We're noticing it, we're naming it, and we're reflecting on it afterwards, ideally in supervision. So what supervision is, it's an absolute perfect place to think about this is, and containments will fail. We all get singed sometimes, but it's really what we then do with that singeing, that feeling of being too close to the flame. It's what we do with that becomes meaningful, instead of doing an almost like, move along the bus please, nothing to see here. Even the best fireproof suits need checking for wear and tear at times. The best thing you can do at this point is you can be honest with yourself. So if something felt too hot in a session, that is gold dust for learning. It's not failure. Please don't ever think that, I'd be sitting here going, well, you should be doing that, you shouldn't be doing that. This is all about, okay, well, this has happened because we've got 2 humans or more, if you've got group coaching, in the room. What can I learn from this? No coach comes out of coach training, perfect. We all learn. We learn. It's like learning to drive. Once you pass your driving test, does that make you an experienced driver? No, absolutely not. Once you've done a coach training course, does that make you an experienced coach? No, you're just, to use the analogy of the Wizard of Oz, you are Dorothy at the start of the yellow brick road, and you're going to learn a lot on the way. So have a think about this yourself in your own coaching practice. What kind of heat shows up most often in your coaching if you are really, really honest with yourselves here? And where do you feel it? Is it in yourself? Are you getting agitated? Do you feel that your buttons have been pressed? Is it your client? Do you feel that your client is getting and I was going to say exaggerated. I don't mean exaggerated at all. Do you feel that your client is becoming more and more agitated, unhappy, inflamed? Or is it in the space between you? What's going on between the coach and the client? Because we're not just 2 people in a room. We're creating something. We're creating this. Jessica Benjamin she's a current psychotherapist. She talks about the third, what we create between us. So is it something that's happening between the 2 of you? And actually it's a relationship that needs attending to. Again, this is completely normal. And depth work requires warmth, but not wildfire. Now, our job isn't to cool it down. We're not there, like I said, with the psychological fire extinguishers. We're not there with buckets of water. That is not what we're doing. It's to contain it so it can transform, so it doesn't go off and singe other things in the client's life or in our own lives. We're containing it and we're seeing what's happening. So, as we always do in Beyond the Words Psychodynamics that coaches can actually use, we will explore more of this next time in our next session next week, and we'll think about what's happening in the dynamics in the room. Now, I could talk about this all day, every day, and I absolutely am passionate about what psychodynamics can bring to coaching. And if you want to understand these dynamics in more depth, then absolutely, there's my podcast. Check that out. I talk a lot about dynamics and everyday life there. It's called the Dynamics of Everyday Life. And then there's my course. If you're a coach and you want to know more about psychodynamics, this is the place for you. We have so much fun in this. There's a lot of learning too. So Essential Psychodynamics for Coaches, we're starting again in January. I will put the link to get more details for that in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I will be so happy if this has actually done what I wanted it to do, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time on more Beyond the Words. Take care, everyone.